Hey, what's going on, everybody? There's a lot to discuss in this one. We were able to watch the entire practice in full patch, which was great. There's a lot of observations I'm going to speak about, but first off, got a new shirt here. Check out the new merch. Check out the link below if you guys are interested in supporting the channel. Okay, so let's get into some observations. First off, it starts with the defense. 4 interceptions by the defensive backs, which was great to see. Quarterbacks have had a rough day with it. Jake Garcia threw 2, Tyler Van Dyke threw 1, and Jakari Brown threw 1 as well. Defensive players that had the picks: Isaiah Dunson, Daryl Porter, Gilbert Frierson finished it off, and also Cam Kitchens had 1 as well. So it was good that the defense did that. I had an article, a VIP article on the website on InsideTheU.com about how they really wanted to improve on those numbers a year ago. Miami ranked outside the top 90 in turnovers or in interceptions last year. New coaching staff, it's a priority, and today was a great sign of that improving. You know, there were some positives with the passing game. Keyshawn Smith hauled in a big touchdown, which was great to see. Goes over the middle. Tyler Van Dyke found him. Really just got behind the defense, which is what we've seen from Keyshawn. He's got that ability. So he did a good job, you know, making a big play. A lot of the coaches were excited about that. So that was a great sign, a great positive for the offense on a really pretty rough day overall from a passing standpoint. And I will say, those 4 interceptions, just watching them, they weren't tipped. It didn't seem like there was anything else going on other than the fact that a lot of them were just balls forced. Either one-on-one situations. Jake Garcia tried throwing the ball into the end zone on his. You know, Jakari Brown over the middle. Gilbert Frierson's just parked there about 20 yards downfield. You know, so that was there. And then Tyler Van Dyke as well. You know, just made a kind of a poor throw, you know, leading to the interceptions. And in particular, it was great to see that Gilbert Frierson had 1, because a few plays earlier in the practice, Garcia nearly had his 3rd pick, but Frierson kind of bumped into Keontra Smith there, and, you know, ball falls incomplete. It looked like Smith had the line on it, but, you know, he bounced back. You know, Gilbert comes up with it, and everybody celebrated. It was great for the defense to do that. You know, today was only one day, but I do think the defense has a chance to be good. You know, we speak so much about the linebackers, how they need to improve their play and all this stuff, but some of the strength of this team, again, the secondary has really shown a little bit of a surprise to the coaches, even from what they did in the spring. Kevin Steele has spoken about that. And, you know, the defensive line. I think this defensive line has a chance to be really good. I really do. You know, we're just seeing waves of guys get in there. You know, as far as the top guys on the defensive line, I think you're looking at, you know, we've seen Leonard Taylor and Jared Harrison Hunt get in there, that first group. And also Jafari Harvey has been there, as well as Chance Williams. I do think that it's going to be interesting after the first scrimmage this weekend how the transfers are going to integrate into the depth chart, because right now, for the most part, most of the transfers are kind of sitting in that second group, second and third units, and I think they're doing that, you know, kind of by design. They're still trying to get to know these guys. You know, it's not like, you know, Frank Ladson's certainly in the mix. He was here in the spring. Wide receiver, Henry Parrish as well. Those guys are more integrated, and I think that they're just kind of making sure they bring these other guys along, you know, with the defensive line and transfers. You should be very excited about, in particular, 4 guys that we're seeing more of. You know, Jake Lichtenstein from USC, we got a chance to see him in the spring. I think he'll be a reliable player, but I think these other guys have a chance to be really good. You know, Daryl Jackson, I'm going to have a video of him on some drills today. I will have more on the defensive line later. Definitely stay tuned to the channel for that. But Daryl Jackson, you know, he's a big guy, looks the part. He's kind of getting in there, that top group sometimes. You know, Akeem Messidor, they're able to move him around. He has spoken about that, where he can play a little bit more edge than he was a year ago at West Virginia, and he's excited about that. And just seeing him out there, it's great, because he was a guy he felt like he'd be a little slowed, and I've not seen that slowed with an injury when we talked on Media Day, but, you know, I've seen him out here, and he looks the part, looks like he's doing well. You know, Mitchell Agude, they're able to do some different things with him, some things that he did at UCLA in terms of being a stand-up backer, kind of an end there, being a rush guy, you know, and I think that he'll be able to bring a lot to the defense. And Akeem Messidor, you guys saw the highlights from before when I showed him going against the offensive line, just a guy with a sturdy base, a guy with a lot of experience, and I think he's going to be able to make some plays too. So I really believe in this defensive line. I know it doesn't necessarily have the major standout that you've seen in recent years with Greg Rousseau and Jalen Phillips, which, you know, projected first-round picks, you know, based on their production. However, I just think that this is going to be a good unit, because I think they're going to be able to rotate a bunch of guys in. And these guys know if they want to be out on the field more, they've got to produce. And I think that competition, more than any other position, you're going to see that at a defensive line, and they're going to give a lot of guys chances. Just real quick on the linebackers, it definitely just, we keep seeing Corey Flagg and Wayne Mestid as kind of these top guys primarily. We'll see how everything shakes out moving forward. I had a VIP article on Kevin Steele and his philosophy and his terminology of the defense using that star position. He also went into some more details in terms of some nickel and dime packages. I have an article on the site if you want to check more about that. But it was just interesting to hear him talk about it and then just kind of seeing it all kind of play out. So overall, good day. You got to be happy about the defense. Again, what you saw in drills and taking it against the offense. But I do want to talk about the offense a little bit. Like I said, some of the quarterbacks, some of the throws weren't great. I want to talk a little bit about what we're seeing at running back and wide receiver. I do want to make a quick mention, Will Mallory in a red non-contact jersey, but he was able to go through drills. Not a surprise to see some guys limited when you start going full paths. You're expected to see that, but I saw Will kind of get in there and he looked great. So I don't think there's anything to be worried about moving forward in terms of being available or anything like that. Just something to monitor. Let's talk about running back. You heard Josh Gaddis speak about how well Henry Parrish and Jalen Knighton have been doing. I definitely think those are the top two guys right now, with Knighton kind of in the lead with Henry Parrish there. And I think both of those guys, I think they bring a lot to the table. I think it is up to Don Chaney Jr. in particular. He's got to raise his game. And the thing with Chaney is he is healthy, but he's got to feel confident in his knee. That's one thing, he's got to get used to taking hits. He's got to understand that he's going to be okay. And it's a hard thing. A lot of players coming off ACL injuries, it's something that they've got to manage and work through. It's not just the physical, coming back to it. He's got to get confident in it. And it's difficult because these other two guys are healthy and he's competing against them for playing time. So I think Chaney has just got to be today I think was a good step in the right direction. It just has to be a consistent and, throughout fall camp, really, becoming more confident in everything that's going on and staying in the mix. So he just has to stay with it. But I just want to make mention of that because I do think Knighton and Parrish at this point are a little bit ahead or are ahead of Chaney. Talking about Parrish, I think he's going to be involved as an option to be a punt returner, as well as Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George. Those are the three guys that I see right now kind of in that mix to be the punt returner. Sticking with the wide receiver, and thinking about Restrepo here, he did get open a little bit at times, but also there's times he's not coming down with catches. And I think the key for Restrepo, he's got to be efficient. It's not about necessarily drops. He has to be an efficient guy when he is getting targeted, somehow find a way to get catches. That'll be important for him. It's important for all these guys on that top unit. So that's just something to watch for with Restrepo moving forward. Again, Keyshawn Smith looked good today, not just the big touchdown, but I just think he's in store for a big year. He's a guy that gained experience a year ago, and I think it's only going to pay dividends. He just runs really well. It's pretty evident to see, what he's bringing to the table when he's running his routes, when he's making catches or going through drills. You definitely could see Keyshawn having a really good year this year. Frank Latson as well. I've spoken about him quite a bit. I think those are your top main three guys at this point. If you're looking for a number 4 guy, I think this guy might surprise you a little bit, but I think the coaching staff is impressed with what they're seeing out of Michael Redding III. He's a guy that sometimes gets overlooked, but I think he's a guy that's done well in fall camp. Seeing him getting some quality repetitions, also does a good job in drills, just kind of being out here. And I thought he looked good, and I think he's a guy that definitely at this point, if you're looking for that number 4 guy, because I know many of you are curious how these other guys are doing, Brashard Smith, Romello Brenson, Jacoby George, as I mentioned. Can they really be that number 4 guy? And I think right now, if I were to guess, I would kind of think it's leaning towards Redding. So that's just something to look for, but definitely those other 3 guys, and they do have abilities, and we'll see how they do moving forward. And it's also good seeing Isaiah Horton and Colby Young kind of get out there and make plays. I thought Colby Young had a really nice touchdown where the way I was parked there on the end zone, I could see it. It looked like a throw that the receiver and Colby definitely had to go get, and he did it. At one point, if he didn't have that late burst, he wouldn't have came down with it, but he did. He got it and had a nice touchdown, which is great to see from Colby there. When you get a chance to watch a full practice, there's so much information and so much observations. I just want to keep this a little tight and definitely refer back to everybody to the website in terms of more information on what's going on with this team. Again, practice number 6, it was great that they get into it here in this second week. So offensive line, just a few notes on them. They're still moving guys around. There's no doubt about that. Jalen Rivers, to me, is one of those intriguing guys. If he's going to play guard or tackle, certainly you're kind of expecting guard, but they want to give him a look at tackle, and we'll see if he can kind of handle it there. Also, a couple young guys to pay attention to in terms of that second unit, and as Cooper and also Matthew McCoy getting looks at both on left and right tackle. So both of those guys are intriguing, and as Miami tries to round out a strong second unit, they're in their first year. They just got here, so we'll see if they can actually get in there and make an impact on the rotation. You know, I touched on some of the positive work that we saw from the cornerbacks with the interceptions today, but I do want to make note of this with safety. I definitely think that there's this kind of clear-cut separation between James Williams and Avonte Williams, and then that next group. You know, I think Avonte is a guy, you see it out here, it feels like he's in store for possible breakout season. Looks very physical. Again, they're not trying to, even though they're in full pads, they're not trying to take everyone down. Coaches are always reminding guys about their hitting, but you can see Avonte's always giving that extra hit, always that extra pop whenever he can. And we know Avonte's a physical player, so I just think he's got, right now, I think he's got the advantage right now on Kitchens, who got 5 starts a year ago. You know, Avonte just got that 1, but as of right now, I definitely think Avonte's got the edge, and we'll see how it transpires in fall camp. Once again, plenty of information still to come. Scrimmage is coming up very soon, so definitely stay locked into that. Practice number 6 already, so a full week under the belts here. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Again, merch shop, definitely, if you like it, definitely let me know. You can pick it up. I do want to mention limited edition, only through August, so definitely stay tuned to the channel. I want to thank everybody for your support. Thanks for watching. Always appreciate people coming up to me, how they like the videos, but I know there's many of you that drop in the comments, which is great to hear as well. So hopefully you have a good rest of the day, and take care.